Let us make this the moment when Britain starts to believe again. The moment we bring back hope. Thank you very much, everybody.
At 10, a new beginning here in Downing Street as Andy Burnham becomes Prime Minister and immediately fashions his cabinet. The former Defence Secretary John Healey takes on the key role of Chancellor. While Ed Miliband leaves Energy to become Foreign Secretary and Shabana Mahmood stays on at the Home Office. The changes come after Sir Keir Starmer in Downing Street addressed supporters and the nation for the very last time. We'll have all the reaction on a momentous day in British politics and what it may all mean for our day-to-day lives. Also tonight, a 28-year-old man, Joshua Carey from South Yorkshire, is charged with the murder of Anne Widdecombe. And a hero of 75.
On BBC London, we speak to the brother of a young mother who was stabbed and killed as she lay in a bed with her husband and baby at home in Hayes.
Hello to you. We're live in Downing Street as the dust settles on the first day of a new political era for the UK. The freshly installed Prime Minister, Andy Burnham, has begun appointing some of his key ministers in the roles that could help define his premiership. At the Treasury, out goes Rachel Reeves, and in comes the former Defence Secretary John Healey. He's always wanted billions more for defence. Now it'll be up to him as Chancellor to find the cash. At the Foreign Office, out goes Yvette Cooper, and in comes Ed Miliband, the former Energy Secretary. Ms. Cooper moves to the Department of Health. There's no change at the Home Office. Shabana Mahmood remains in post, and she will remain there from today. When in all, so far, 11 members of Sir Keir Starmer's cabinet have been sacked, including David Lammy, Liz Kendall, Peter Kyle, and Hilary Benn. Before the new appointments, Mr. Burnham, in his first speech as PM in this very street, promised to make politics work better for everyone and said he'll set out tomorrow immediate measures to help with the cost of living. There'll then be, later in the year, the announcement of a 10-year plan, laying out a path from where the country is now to where he says he believes everyone wants it to be. Well, we'll have full analysis for you of this unfolding political drama. But first, Chris Mason has our top story tonight on the main events of the day.
This the moment at lunchtime that Andy Burnham became Prime Minister. A handshake from the King for a man who only became an MP a month ago and is now running the country. From Buckingham Palace, a brief moment to reflect on the magnitude of the job he takes on as he's driven the short distance to his new address. In Downing Street, his friends, family, supporters, his wife Myrie France alongside him as he greets the crowd. His longtime friend, the Mayor of the Liverpool City region, Steve Rotherham, here with his grandson Harley. The new Prime Minister takes office without having won a general election or faced a challenger in the race for the Labour leadership. Before his address, he spotted his mum, Eileen, in the crowd.
I have just come from Buckingham Palace, where I have accepted His Majesty the King's invitation to form a government.
This a speech delivered without a lectern or notes.
I am acutely conscious that I am the 6th person in the last 10 years to walk up this street, the 7th Prime Minister since 2016.
In other words, in recent years, being in government has meant being unpopular and quickly. I get it, he claimed.
And we need to be better. We will be. We will make this moment a circuit breaker for Britain, bringing forward the biggest changes in the last 40 years.
Yes, you heard that right. He reckons he'll introduce changes on a scale not seen in 4 decades, but we won't get a full sense of them for a bit.
Later this year, I will bring forward a new plan for Britain, a 10-year plan. But I can do something to give people some breathing space now, some help with the cost of living. And I will set out some of those measures starting tomorrow, including how we pay for them.
There was one specific new promise, though.
I will soon go through that door behind me and issue my first instruction to end rough sleeping in our country.
And then his concluding message.
Let us make this the moment when Britain starts to believe again, the moment we bring back hope. Thank you very much, everybody.
Afterwards, a hug with his mum, and then the image for the history books. Tradition dictates the applause doesn't stop when an arriving Prime Minister crosses number 10's threshold for the first time. The team of aides and civil servants who'll work for him welcoming him inside as his political opponents size up a new rival.
What Andy Burnham has just said is we're going to have to wait till the end of the year to know what his plan is. Now, that is totally unsatisfactory. I suspect that on tax we're going to be heading into a summer of speculation now as to what taxes may be rising, and that in itself can be very damaging.
I want him to do well because I want our country to do well. We as the Liberal Democrats, we're the third largest party in Parliament, and it's our job to be a good, constructive, responsible opposition. That means scrutinising plans he comes up with.
We wish him well for the sake of the country, but we fear this is going to end badly. Andy Burnham says that he's going to bring about a big change, but he's got no mandate for that. He should call a general election if he has, but we don't see any evidence of a plan.
Back in Downing Street, senior figures have been called in for an appointment with the new Prime Minister. But who would emerge out of this door? Labour has a Chancellor called Healey. It was true in the 70s with Dennis. It's true again half a century on with John.
The Prime Minister and I have talked about how we will work in lockstep to meet the fiscal rules with a buffer against uncertainty, and how we'll make life more affordable for working people right across the UK. And I join you, just having come off a call with the Governor of the Bank of England, and I've conveyed this also to him.
And all eyes on the number 10 door too. Labour have a Foreign Secretary called Miliband. It was true in the noughties with David. It's true again now with his brother Ed.
Hello, Foreign Secretary. Congratulations. You take on a difficult task with a tricky, to put it mildly, tricky international backdrop.
It's the honour of my life to have been asked by the Prime Minister to be the Foreign Secretary of our country. My parents came here as Jewish refugees fleeing from the Nazis, and for them Britain provided sanctuary and a beacon of hope in the fight against fascism. At a time when values of democracy, the rule of law and freedom are under threat as never before, I will carry that spirit, their spirit, into my work as Foreign Secretary, and now I'm going to go and get on with the task.
And the commitment to Ukraine remains as steadfast as ever, does it, Foreign Secretary?
Shabana Mahmood, who alongside Ed Miliband was seen as a contender for Chancellor, remains as Home Secretary. And Louise Haigh, a key figure in Andy Burnham's by-election campaign, will now be a key figure in his administration, first Secretary of State, driving through his plans from the heart of government. Before all this morning's Prime Minister, soon to be yesterday's man, Sir Keir Starmer, left number 10 for the last time, giving a short speech on his way out.
I'm about to visit His Majesty the King to offer my resignation and close the book on my time as Prime Minister. My work is done.
He claimed he was leaving the country in a better state than he found it. And he concluded,
I go with good grace, I go with a smile, and I go proud of everything that we have achieved. Thank you very much.
A hug for his wife Victoria and also for his Chancellor Rachel Reeves. She was offered another cabinet job by Andy Burnham, but turned it down. Plenty of others have been sacked. A government ends, a new government begins. It will start setting out its new policies in the morning.
Well, as you've been hearing there, one of the key new appointments is John Healey as the new Chancellor inside number 11, just over there. Tonight, he said he was in lockstep with the Prime Minister to meet the fiscal rules. Chris Mason is here alongside Faisal Islam, who's also with us. Anything you can glean from what we might expect from this new Chancellor, Faisal?
Clive, it's a significant announcement. It came as a surprise to Westminster, but actually, if you look at it, it was kind of hiding in plain sight. This is a former Treasury Minister for half a decade, from 2002 to 2007, who specialised in the sorts of regional development issues that Andy Burnham is kind of most focused on. Clearly, he is very well known over the past month or so. Lisa Nandy there, who we think is Culture Secretary. But he was clearly that he's most well known for in the past month for having resigned as Defence Secretary when he did not get defence spending up to 3% of national income by 2030. He wrote a very stinging letter at the time. So it was put directly to the new Chancellor as to whether, now that he is in charge of the coffers, whether that would be met, or would it require tax rises, or would it require some spending cuts to welfare, for example? And this is how he answered.
First, fiscal control is the first duty of any Chancellor. It is mine. And fiscal credibility is the bedrock for economic stability and for national security. And you heard the Prime Minister this afternoon say, in this more dangerous world, we will meet our commitments on defence to our international allies.
So didn't quite answer that thing about 3% by 2030. He has a lot of spending commitments and taxes to balance off in terms of what the new Prime Minister has announced. He also said to reporters that he'd spoken to the Bank of England Governor. We have and we expect some sort of cost of living announcement tomorrow too. There's a lot to be getting on with, but some confirmation, I think, keen to reaffirm the centrality, in his view, of these borrowing rules, and with a buffer, so not eating into those in order to find new flexibilities, which was a suggestion floating around from some words from the Prime Minister earlier.
Yeah, and keeping the markets happy, crucially. Yeah. Chris, we just saw Lisa Nandy, Culture Secretary, appear as we announced to the world.
Yelling over your shoulder as you were offering your analysis.
She was smiling.
She was, and the reason she was smiling, which is what I was attempting to establish, and then I did, having fallen silent and was listening to Faisal again, is she remains as the Secretary of State for Culture, Media and Sport.
But so many Starmer allies have gone.
Yes, and what was interesting, when you saw the pictures a few minutes ago of the cabinet ministers, the Keir Starmer cabinet ministers who lined up on the footpath behind us as he left, as far as I can work out, all of the ones there, apart from Rachel Reeves, who was offered a job and turned it down, were sacked. Oh, we have Stephen Kinnock coming in. And do you know what you're going to get, Mr. Kinnock?
What's going on? A Kinnock in Downing Street.
There we go. It's
well,
still
there you
happening.
Go. Well, his father, of course, a mentor of Andy Burnham.
Indeed so.
So there we go. More from you a little bit later on, Chris, but Andy Burnham has promised more policy announcements tomorrow. But are there clues on policy direction in his choices for some of the top jobs in his cabinet? Here's Joe Pike.
Where are you off to, Mr. Healey? Have you got a new job?
The surprises started early, with former Defence Secretary John Healey unexpectedly first in to meet the new boss.
Do you think this might mean that you could be the Chancellor, maybe Deputy Prime Minister?
Do you know, everything like that is entirely for the Prime Minister. Just now, I'm on my way to a meeting and look forward to seeing you later.
If tackling inequality is Andy Burnham's mission, this man has now been tasked with delivering it. 90 minutes later, he was en route to the Treasury.
How are you feeling, Mr. Healey?
Hello again.
With policy announcements expected tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
But more cost of living support, like increasingly tax-free personal allowance, will cost money. The Tories want Andy Burnham to rule out tax rises, but he's hinted they're possible.
We are going to have to work quite hard to make sure we can pay our way And at some point that might be having to ask for a little more.
The tone and plan may have changed, but the fundamentals facing Andy Burnham have not. He'll need to try and trim the £58 billion a year sickness and benefits bill for working age people, try and help the 1 million 16 to 24-year-olds not in education, employment or training, find another £9 billion for the defence budget per year, and try and reform England's system of social care.
So, how many people would come through here?
Mr Burnham's big day started small.
I shouldn't have doubted you.
At 7 a.m. at a homelessness project in London.
Get the basics right, put a care for people at the heart of everything that we do, and just get this country working as it should.
He made tackling homelessness in Greater Manchester a priority, with mixed results. Andy Burnham rarely mentions immigration, so long a dominant issue in our politics. He talks lots of wanting to devolve power, build council houses, nationalise utilities, and that's before we get to scrapping planned ID cards and increasing oil and gas drilling. Mr Burnham has apologised for his party's approach to Gaza, but there will be no policy change on Ukraine.
President Zelensky will be left in no doubt whatsoever that Britain's support is steadfast, it is resolute, it will be there for him.
Where are you off to now?
Do you want to have a little guess, Joe?
Burnham ally Louise Haigh is rewarded with control of the beefed-up Cabinet Office to drive the PM's priorities across government.
Hi, Stephen.
But others, like the current Minister for Europe and North America, are waiting to know if they'll be reappointed, promoted, demoted, or out altogether.
And you don't know what's going to happen to you in the coming hours?
I don't at all. No, you wait to hear. But at the moment, I've been getting on with my job.
The big unknown, how all of this goes down with Labour MPs. Appointing ministers is easy, sacking them can create enemies, and tonight some will feel humiliated at losing their jobs, others disappointed at being overlooked for high ministerial office. And ultimately, Andy Burnham can only put his policies in place with those Labour MPs on side.
It's taken 3 attempts across 16 years for Andy Burnham to reach this moment. His life in government could be equally gruelling. Joe Pike, BBC News, Westminster.
Well, a key feature of government policy going forward will be the redistribution of power out of Westminster. The leaders from Wales, Northern Ireland and Scotland have been giving their reaction to Prime Minister Burnham's first comments.
There'll be issues upon which the Prime Minister and I are not in agreement, but I'm certain there will be areas where we can take forward an agenda that will help to improve the challenges that people face with the cost of living in Scotland, and that's my absolute priority, to make sure that we've got the powers and the opportunities to address that issue.
Things have to change. I am looking at this as a positive. I'm looking for a reset in the relationship between Welsh Government and UK Government. I hope it can be a relationship that is genuinely based on respect.
We, of course, will want to be near the front of the queue in terms of making the case for Northern Ireland. But I think importantly it is about saying to Andy Burnham that we want this to be a partnership. We want this to be about us working constructively. I think he will have seen that.
Designs from Westminster have meant people's lives here have got much, much worse. So we need to have a fair funding model. We need to see real, tangible intervention on the cost of living crisis. And we'll be also asking that he respects and implements the Good Friday Agreement in full.
The view from our devolved governments there. Well, we now know Mr Burnham's top diplomat will be Ed Miliband, the new Foreign Secretary, tasked with representing Britain's interests around the world. He comes into the post with 2 wars raging in Ukraine and with Iran. And just over an hour ago, US forces launched a fresh round of strikes on Iran aimed at preventing attacks on shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. Well, Jeremy Bowen is here with me now. That is quite the in tray. Wars, the future of NATO, and of course, Donald Trump. How is this appointment going down, do you think?
Well, I just walked past the Foreign Office. The lights are burning bright there in the area where the Foreign Secretary's office is. He's getting briefings starting with Iran at the moment because of clearly there is a risk of escalation there, and Britain has to decide the degree to which it helps out the Americans, access to bases particularly, which was controversial, under Keir Starmer. But there is a broad agenda, and what I'm picking up from diplomats is really 2 themes. First of all, that he's not experienced with foreign affairs. However, he has a reputation of being a very bright, very hard-working guy who will read his briefs and master his briefs. I think some diplomats are happy that the National Security Advisor is staying on in his role because he's very experienced in all of this. One thing that Andy Burnham has said about his foreign policy is a tougher line on Israel. He's indicated that that's coming. Now, they've done various things. One thing that they may do is accept more fully than they have a ruling 2 years ago, an advisory ruling by the International Court of Justice that said that the occupation of Palestinian land by Israel is illegal. Now, if Britain goes in behind that, that would be a big step, and they would, of course, get a lot of flack from the Israelis and also from the Americans. So I think what we're seeing right now is that there is a message from some senior diplomats I've spoken to of steady as she goes. They're very happy that they got a call in with Donald Trump. That was not accidental, within an hour or so of Mr. Burnham going into that building. And one interesting message coming out from one diplomatic source actually was that actually if you look at the kind of language that Andy Burnham uses about bringing up poorer regions, about trying to pull back those who are left behind, it's actually a little bit, if you take left and right out of it, a little bit like Donald Trump. They're attaching some hope to that they can work together.
Yeah, all right. Jeremy Bowen, our international editor, many thanks. And Victoria will have more on the new PM and his cabinet on Newsnight over on BBC Two shortly. Hello.
Hi, yes, we will, Clive. We are decoding cabinet promotions and the sackings. What do they tell us about the direction of the Burnham premiership and what it could mean for you and your life? We'll hear from his closest allies and political insiders. Join us live at 10:30 on BBC Two, BBC News and iPlayer. See you shortly.
Thanks, Victoria. There'll be more on the day's big political events in a few minutes, but first a look at some of the day's other main news now. And a 28-year-old man has been charged with the murder of Anne Widdecombe. Joshua Kerry from Rotherham in South Yorkshire is due to appear at Westminster Magistrates Court tomorrow. Seema Katecha joins us now with more details. Just fill us in on the latest, Seema.
Yes, Clive, the former politician was found dead at her home in Devon on the 9th of July, having sustained serious injuries. Now, a 28-year-old British man, Joshua Kerry from Rotherham in South Yorkshire, has been charged with her murder. The Crown Prosecution Service said police inquiries into the defendant's motives are ongoing, including a potential political or terrorist connection. Now, the counter-terrorism police who are leading this investigation said over the last week there had been more than 800 lines of inquiry.
Given Anne Widdecombe's profile and the targeted nature of the attack, determining the motivation, including any possible political motivation, remains an active avenue of investigation for our detectives. And as with all murder investigations, understanding the why is a key part of our inquiries.
Joshua Kerry remains in custody and will appear at Westminster Magistrates Court in London tomorrow for his first hearing. Clive.
All right, Seema, thank you. Seema Katecha, our senior UK correspondent there. Now, the former England captain and manager Kevin Keegan has died at the age of 75. He'd been living with cancer. He was one of English football's most decorated players, including being voted European Footballer of the Year twice. He played for several clubs, most notably Liverpool and Newcastle, from where Fiona Trott reports.
Too young to know him. Old enough to have been him in the playground. All generations paid their respects at St James's Park today.
He was a Geordie, through and through. I can only put it in them words. He got the place, he got the city, and he got the fans, basically.
I think it's important as well to tell the next generation exactly who he was.
He came to my little club when he was a Ballon d'Or winner in Europe, and look where we are now, and he lit the spark.
It was a spark that was first spotted at Scunthorpe.
So people are already beginning to talk about you as a player with a future. Are you very conscious of this?
No, I ain't here, don't, you know, I'm conscious of it perhaps, but I try not to be. Well, I try not to let people say I am.
It was a different story at Liverpool.
Keegan does his shot.
But that passion got him sent off at Wembley.
And he's absolutely livid about it.
But this side of Keegan just boosted his popularity.
Nothing beats the great smell of Britain. Here, you try the muscle on my act.
Keegan then signed for Hamburg and he was twice named European Footballer of the Year. By then, he was England captain, but only appeared at one World Cup in 1982, which ended in disappointment.
And it's wide!
That same year, he joined Newcastle United. The enduring relationship began.
It's Kevin Keegan! Who else?
8 years later, he returned as manager. In 1996, they were heading towards the Premier League title, but when Manchester United overtook, Keegan then took over as England manager, but it lasted just a year. He quit after their defeat to Germany and simply said, "I wasn't good enough." In Newcastle today, they disagreed. To them, he will always be King Kev.
There's a saying, not one individual is bigger than any football club. And that is right. But if there was any one person came close, that was Kevin with this football club in this city.
The Liverpool, Newcastle and England football legend Kevin Keegan, who's died at the age of 75. Now the broadcaster and journalist Edward Sturton, whose career spanned more than 40 years, has died at the age of 68. His work included a decade presenting Radio 4's Today programme, as well as BBC News. He'd been diagnosed with prostate cancer back in 2014, and today his friend and former Today co-host James Naughtie praised his warm intelligence and infectious decency. World Football's governing body, FIFA, says it'll investigate potential breaches of its disciplinary code after Argentina lost to Spain 1-0 in the World Cup final. There were ugly scenes after the match when some of the Argentinian players and backroom staff were involved in altercations with the Spanish squad. Well, the newly crowned world champions, Spain, have now arrived home, and this is the scene live in Madrid, where a huge victory event is taking place. Here's Dan Rowan.
This is what it means to Spain to be World Cup winners again. An estimated million people lining the streets of Madrid to welcome home their heroes 24 hours after claiming the trophy.
This happens once every 16 years. We've had to wait that long since the last World Cup, but it's worth it.
There's a lot of happiness. It's something you have to come here to live it here.
The game's dominant force. No fairy tale ending for Argentina great Lionel Messi in what's expected to be his last World Cup. Amid chaotic scenes after the final whistle, some of his teammates resorting to violence. This evening, FIFA launching an investigation into the mayhem.
But the whole of Spain is watching.
The final brought to an end the biggest World Cup ever, one that provided memorable moments both on and off the field.
We have had a record number of spectators in the stadiums, almost 7 million. I think we have to invent a new vocabulary, new words to define the success of this World Cup.
And the final's lengthy half-time show dismayed traditionalists, and politics was never far away. A striker following Balogun's ban after lobbying from President Donald Trump sparked a crisis of trust in the governing body, despite insisting its disciplinary committee was independent.
Can we just ask about the Balogun suspension and whether or not you were asked by the FIFA president to suspend that ban?
Champions of the world.
The World Cup certainly provided plenty of entertainment, boosting the sport's profile here in North America and generating more money than ever. But many feel that the tournament also came at a cost to the fans who paid so much to attend and to the integrity of the game. And there are now further questions over the way that the sport is being run. Dan Rowan, BBC News, New York.
Well, back to our main story tonight and the whirlwind last few weeks for Andy Burnham. He was elected as an MP just last month for Makerfield in Greater Manchester. Very much home turf, and now he is Prime Minister. But what do other parts of the country think of him? Coletta Smith has more from Derby.
It's musical chairs in Downing Street, but business as usual here.
We're still in the same boat to me. Nothing's changed massively. I know he can have a big impact in some ways, but we're voting for the party, not the person in charge.
I don't actually know a lot about him.
I know he wants to change how politics is.
Halfway between London and Manchester, I want to hear what people in Derby think.
I'm game for anything, but I talk drivel.
About the man now in charge of the country.
I like him. He comes across as very personable. I'm a little optimistic. We'll see. Let's see what he brings to the table.
It's hard for me to look at it and say, yeah, we're going to be great, because we hear things like this all the time, and I've not yet felt them.
I got twins, 17-year-olds.
Shanmuga contacted us at BBC Your Voice because he wants investment in the railways for his own job, but he's thinking about his kids too. So the things that you've heard about Andy Burnham, does that excite you?
I'm very positive, put it that way. We have to see the change and let it happen.
But Chris, who works nights as a postal worker, came for a chat because he's sick of Westminster scandals.
I'm sceptical at how different he's going to be from the last Prime Minister.
Do you reckon we should have had a general election?
Yes, possibly. Given the results of the local elections across the country, maybe that would have been a better representative of what the people want at the moment.
People here have been really keen to come and chat today, and I'd say the mood is one of very cautious optimism. People hoping the new Prime Minister delivers more for them. Coletta Smith, BBC News in Derby.
The view from Derby there. Well, someone who's closely followed Andy Burnham's time as Mayor of Greater Manchester, his achievements and challenges, is Annabelle Tiffin, the BBC's political editor in the North West, who's here, and we're going to get a final word from Chris in a moment. Annabelle, first to you. This is a northern takeover, but he's got to somehow convince other parts of the country that he's their Prime Minister as well. How easy is it going to be for him to bring so-called Manchesterism down here and around these islands?
Yeah, well, that's what Manchesterism is the word, isn't it? His big plans for more devolution, reindustrialisation, more collaboration, and they're the things that he really wants to bring to the rest of the country. And what was interesting is that when he spoke about it at the People's Museum a few weeks ago, he used Manchesterism word several times, but since then, when he's given a speech, he hasn't mentioned it. And it's interesting, I think that's quite significant, that he knows now that he has to appeal to the rest of the country. It will be a challenge. You know, I've been saying all day that he's a popular person up in the Northwest, but he's not universally popular, and he does like to be liked. So I think he will face challenges. It's not going to be particularly easygoing, but the fact that he wants to have a number 10 in the North is a huge start, I think.
Sure. All right. And Chris, what are we going to be expecting over the next few days and weeks and so on?
Well, I'll tell you what, Clive, you and I have been talking in this spot for the best part of 12 hours, and today is not over yet. There is something of a nocturnal reshuffle still going on, behind that door. By my calculation, there's a minibus full of ministerial wannabes. Some of them have been in there for quite a few hours, who are waiting to find out what jobs they were being appointed to. Now, why that might have happened, sometimes there's bumps in the road because people say no to a job and the whole kind of spreadsheet takes a bit of a wobble. It is also true that the Prime Minister has been on the phone for the first time to some international counterparts. So he's spoken to the Chancellor of Germany, he's spoken to the NATO Secretary General. And I suppose when those calls come in, or those calls are made on your first night, you've got to make them, even if you have Wes Streeting or Heidi Alexander or Emma Reynolds or Stephen Kinnock or Douglas Alexander or Ellie Reeves or Alan Campbell.
A busload, you said.
Indeed, all in there waiting to find out what jobs they've got. Tomorrow, some announcements to come. I think they'll make a big run on trying to argue that they can make a difference on the cost of living quite quickly.
It's going to be fascinating. Chris Mason, our political editor. Annabelle Tiffin, thank you. Now, it's time for a look at all the weather news, and Elizabeth has the forecast. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hello, Clive. Well, no big surprises from me. It's warm, it's dry, there's still a lot of sunshine around. And these were our highest temperatures today across our four nations. So highest in Pershore in Worcestershire, 28.6 degrees Celsius. We're looking at something similar again tomorrow, perhaps a bit warmer for some areas. And the pattern stays the same. So high pressure is out towards the west, and we are drawing down still this northeasterly wind. So again, overnight tonight, we're going to be drawing in more cloud from the North Sea, as we've become used to of late. And there's also going to be a bit of drizzle out towards parts of northwestern Scotland too. Clearer skies for central, for western areas here. We could perhaps see a bit of mist and fog develop into tomorrow morning. It's a warmer night, and in fact, we've got to get used to those warmer nights again as we head through this week. Now, tomorrow morning, if you're in Kent or East Anglia, you might just catch a light shower or two, but they'll fade away into the afternoon. It's warm, it's dry. Again, there's lots of sunshine, a bit more cloud building as we head through through the afternoon across England and Wales. Best of the sunny spells across Northern Ireland will probably be towards the south and the east. That's also true across Scotland too, where we could get to 25 or 26 Celsius. Highest temperatures further south, 28, 29 degrees, not completely out of the question. If we just take a quick look at Wednesday, you'll see there is a bit more cloud around towards the north. That's because there's a very weak weather front just slowly slipping its way southwards. Again, that could introduce 1 or 2 light showers, but look, it's largely dry again. And temperatures will be peak in the low 20s towards the north and then the mid to possibly the high 20s further south. So is there any rain to come in the forecast? Well, we might just see some in the north and the west, perhaps as we head into the weekend. But other than that, it's dry, Clive.
All right, Elizabeth. Thank you, Elizabeth Rizzini there with the forecast. That's it from us here in Downing Street. In a moment, we'll join our colleagues for all the news where you are. But first, let's look back on some of the main images and moments of an historic day in UK politics. Have a peaceful night.
My work is done. I go with good grace, I go with a smile, and I go proud of everything that we have achieved. Thank you very much.
Please, let's go and see the king.
Let's build a new national sense of unity, of common purpose and positivity. Let us make this the moment when Britain starts to believe again, the moment we bring back hope.